Hello and welcome to Cognitions, speaking the unspeakable with JP.
We sure do have JP sounding with his very white tone. Do it again, JP. Do it again.
It's real loud on my side. My headphones are loud, and so if you planning on screaming, I need you to whisper like I'm doing.
And Stacy D.
Y'all listen, audience. Y'all know she gonna be screaming within 15 minutes. I'm JP Craddock. I am here with the one and only Stacy D Love, and the D has us scorching hot up in this station today. D, why is it I'm burning? You're not sweating.
No,
I
I'm
need
cold.
you find out how to have hot flashes.
Hell no, I don't want to have no hot flashes.
You actually need hot flashes.
No, I don't.
What kind of menopause you need the hot flashes, because everybody else in this studio is sweating at this point. The D is cold. All right, coming up on the show today, our question of the day is locked in fear. Fear and anxiety are making my world very small because I'm always running and avoiding everything. How do I overcome my fears? This question I have been getting more and more, especially since the pandemic started.
Mm-hmm.
But this question I am getting from powerful men who are entering therapy.
Wow.
Because of their fears and anxieties. And when I say powerful men, I mean men who they are able to work and bring home good incomes, run their businesses, whatever their business, their companies, et cetera, et cetera. Men who embody the ideal image of masculinity.
Being the alpha male.
Alpha males, that's what it is. But in secrecy, they are living in fear. And because it is a secret, usually there is shame attached to it.
Oh, most definitely.
The only people who they let in on the secret might be their spouse. Because they can't, it's hard to hide it from your spouse, depending on the anxiety that you are experiencing, the fear you are experiencing. So that's the only reason why they tell the spouse, is because it's kind of hard to hide the fear. And so
is there a certain race, or is it just, have you just had a
no, it's both black men and white male clients.
Okay.
Yeah, it's both. It's a drastic increase in black males, but that's because black males are the last to show up for therapy. Everybody else has been coming to therapy. Mm-hmm. And so if I look at my caseload, it looks like, wow, black men are much more anxious and afraid now than they were. But no, they just were hiding it and keeping it to themselves. Now that they're
drinking, getting high,
self-medicating. Yes. Self-medicate. We need to talk about that when we get into this question, because I want to talk about the specific chemicals that they use to self-medicate that are effective at reducing the anxiety, but they come at a bigger price. So I'm glad you mentioned that, D. Do not forget to bring that up when we get into it.
I won't.
Okay. And so it looks like it, but no, now that therapy is so widely accepted and everybody's going to therapy, and
not everybody, we still have a small percentage that still are.
Well, yeah, black
they're
males
not drinking the Kool-Aid.
Black males are still the lowest number, but a lot of them are coming. And what has also made it easier is telehealth. They don't have to walk into a
building, an office, nothing, any signage on it. Yeah. Right.
Because I went
a little bit more private.
They are able to have because they're living in secrecy, and so
they don't even have to turn on their camera if they don't want to.
No, they turn it on their camera.
They turn
need
on
to see somebody else. I'm not playing. On occasion, I'll do phone
that's
sessions.
On JP.
On occasion, I'll do phone, but that's if I really know the client really well. But due to confidentiality, I kind of need to know who I'm talking to. Okay. You need to see the face, to kind of be sure that you're talking, But here's something. Yesterday, because I'm in the middle of doing this sleep study, the building that
Let me know how that turned out.
Well, it was rough last night, but we can talk about that later. The building where the sleep study people are in, I walked in and looked at the little
directory.
The directory. I almost called it a marquee, but I know that ain't.
That's not it.
Ain't nobody singing and dancing up in there. But there had to be about 50 therapists in that one building.
It's beginning to get very widespread.
Yes.
Your name is still on the directory in my building.
Well, good, because I'm still around.
You still around.
And so for men who are living with anxiety and they are embarrassed and ashamed, to them, if 90% of the businesses in that building are therapists, they don't want to be seen going in that building.
Not at all.
Because it's like, okay, I can play it off like I'm here for a sleep study one time, but if I'm showing up every week, ain't nobody having a sleep study.
Every week.
And so we kind of need to get into that. But before we get to that, D, what's your check-in? You got to check in on the New Year's D.
It's not time for that.
It's not time for that.
I have 2 more weeks.
Oh, okay. You got 2 more weeks.
But
everything is going well. Motivate the listeners,
well.
D. Motivate the listeners, because a lot of our listeners have already abandoned their New Year's resolution.
Really? Oh, no,
It's
no,
March.
no. I'm still steadfast on all of mine.
Okay, because I've noticed the gym has thinned out.
It's very cold in the morning.
No, I'm saying the gym is crowded between January 1st and
February
maybe-
1st.
Really, yeah.
Now, December 31st, actually. I'm going to start it on the 31st. Yeah.
But we all up in March, the gym is empty again.
The gym is empty. It's just really, it's really cold. I will be back in the gym as of April 1st. I just told my daughter about that.
D, oh, what the heck?
And what's really good about it is that on my weight loss goal, I'm the same weight as my daughter.
Okay.
And I'm smaller than one daughter.
You made it below your 2.
No, I haven't made it 30. I'm not 199 yet.
Oh, okay.
That's got
That's
a while
the
to go.
overall
That's
goal.
the overall goal. 199.9.
Okay.
So I'm actually smaller than both my daughters now.
Really? Your daughter, who is a truck driver, that's a lot of, well, it's not a lot of exercise, but she has to lift and get all up into the cab of the truck.
That's a little bit of,
that's a little bit of a workout.
but she's driving for 12 hours. She only got to get in and out for
Oh, yeah.
she only got to get in and out like 2 or 3 times in 12 hours, and that's to use the bathroom.
So once she get up in there, she's good.
Yeah. Now, because she's over the road. Now, when she get something local, she might get in and out more like if she was to drive for Frito-Lay, because those drivers get out, do their display, Pepsi and all them do their own display.
Really?
Yeah.
There is a company that is hiring for local because one of the guys that works at the gym has become a truck driver, and he has landed his first job. And, usually they have to start out over the road and work their way into local, okay? Because my nephew is just now becoming local. He's been driving for 2, 3, 4 years. But this guy, he told me the name of the company, so I'm going to find out what it is, because he is starting off driving. He's home every night.
And that's good, because I'm sort of a little worried about her. She told me to stop calling her.
You don't do what she say.
Show down.
She ain't the boss of you. You her mama. She ain't yours.
But I don't call her as much. I just call her every other day now.
Okay. It will be easier for her to get in and out of that big truck if she
lose some weight.
joins you. Why don't y'all do it together?
I am with my other daughter because she's home. So when it get a little warmer in the mornings, we at the gym by 5:30.
5:30.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all tripping.
I forgot. You really just be going to sleep.
I leave the gym at 3:30 in the morning.
They open 24 hours again now?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what I love about the gym.
Right.
See, for those of you who have abandoned your New Year's resolution, because that gym is empty in the middle of the night, and it shouldn't be. The benefit of a 24-hour gym is you really don't have any excuse to not go. That's the reason why I stopped doing gyms that, close at 10. Because, back in the day when we used to party, I would go to the gym.
You would
after
go to the gym?
party.
Yeah, you would have to get some of that liquor out of you.
But most of those... D. True, but
we'll be leaving the place. What was it was Body Works. We'll be leaving the Body Works at 3, and you roll up at the gym at 3:30.
You stagger onto a treadmill. You sober when you get off. But a lot of those gyms stopped being 24-hour gyms. So 24-hour
and they
fitness
closed
went
down.
out of business.
Yeah.
And then they were bought out by somebody who was closing at 10 or 11. But if you find I think even that Chiefs gym on the plaza is a 24-hour gym. Find you a 24-hour gym. It will decrease temptation to not work out because you don't have an excuse. The gym is open 24 hours.
That
you
is
can
true.
go at any time. And so for me, the best time, I don't have time to go any other time of the day except at night, and I kind of like an empty gym. I don't like a crowded gym, and, it's a row of 20 machines, and somebody want to come and be right next to me, and they look like they got COVID. That's not okay.
Right. See, I have been going to the gym with the same people for probably about 8 years. Like, they're
that's a
still
community.
going. Yeah, we have a little community. Like, they'll call, and I was like, yeah, it's just way too cold because now my joints really hurt. My joints and my muscles really hurt now in the cold.
That's legitimate reason.
That's a switch from me not having hot flashes. That's what the doctor said.
But you need hot flashes.
No, I
It's
do
cold
not
all
need
the
hot
time.
flashes.
Why are we sweating in this studio right now?
Because it's wintertime still.
We all wish hot flashes on you.
Don't do that. No, I'd rather have some little body aches with the coldness. That's why I'm like really always,
I would rather be hot than in pain. Well, I guess pain though, you can take some meds.
Well, I don't like really taking the meds. I just work through
We
it.
know. You probably
I
had
just
them
work through
ADHD meds. We're going to know in a few minutes if you've had them today.
Have not had those today. I really should have because I was on a 3-hour meeting this morning about nothing. I don't know what they were talking about.
Because it got boring
Very boring.
and your attention was gone.
Yeah, I started doing case notes.
But if you, that's a distraction, but it's a distraction that requires concentration. That's not the appropriate distraction for managing inattentiveness and poor concentration. A better distraction.
So we done got letters over
Uh-oh, the
here. We
professor-
done got letters over here. What you talking about?
Hold up! Don't start reading the professor's notes. Yeah, professor, you need to get on the microphone. You got something to say
He's
because
finna leave now.
I got cataracts. I can't be reading.
Oh, I don't have any cataracts. I don't even wear glasses.
Because she had the surgery. Okay. the
All about
professor-
men in military. Okay, that's on topic.
Is this
Okay.
about the anxiety
Uh-huh.
and military men? Oh, we're gonna cover that because
Are you a military
I
man?
provide PTSD treatment to soldiers who are So yeah, we're gonna read your note, Professor. So get in the car and listen to the show and then see
Most
if we cover
definitely.
it thoroughly. Back to distractions for ADHD. A better distraction would be something that takes your attention away but doesn't require thinking. What I used to do in grad school is doodle. I would just draw, and I ain't talking because I ain't nobody's artist. Whose paper is it? Let me use the professor's paper. But I would just doodle shapes and images on paper, and it requires you to stay awake, but it does not take your focus away from whoever it is that is talking. Simple doodles like this.
I don't think they can see.
Can't nobody see that because it's so light. But it's a slight distraction, but you can still hear everything that's being said. That'll get you through the meetings. Try that out, D.
Okay, I'm gonna try that out because I just tuned it all the way out.
Charting
It was
session notes is too much of a distraction.
It was a stakeholders meeting, and they was talking about stuff that didn't even mean nothing, but it was a requirement for me to be on.
Oh, it didn't pertain to you.
No, not really.
Oh, hell, you don't need to.
Yeah, exactly.
Do your notes.
I have another 3-hour meeting tomorrow that is gonna be I'm gonna have to pay attention to. So, and I noticed that I can do better with meetings when I'm actually in my home office.
Telehealth, virtual meetings.
Yeah, virtual meetings.
Really?
When I'm at home in my smaller office.
Less distractions. That makes sense.
And they got the nerve to talk about keep the camera on.
Well, because people leave the room and don't be nowhere near the camera. They're not at the meeting.
I was today.
Because my frat meetings, when I'm on there virtual, it be tons of cameras turned off. I'm like, these fools are not present at this meeting. So let me turn mine off and go somewhere too. Because a lot of what's being covered is like, what are we talking about? This doesn't pertain to
Y'all just
me.
want us to meet once a quarter.
Right. Like, this doesn't pertain to me. All right, D. So was that your check-in about the whole, you going to get back to it once it's warmer and your joints are cool and you're not in pain?
April 1st.
Okay. On topic for this whole weight loss thing, here's my check-in. Nadine and I was eating because I crave Chinese food a lot. Like, I'm practically from China. Like, I love Chinese food. Okay. Don't eat a lot of it, but I love it. Okay. But I will periodically crave like crab rangoons, egg drop soup, and I have to go get it. And so Nadine and I was having this conversation. I said, there are no overweight Chinese people.
Yes, it is.
No, it ain't. You talking about sumo wrestlers? They don't count. When have you seen an overweight Chinese person?
The woman that does my nails used to do my nails.
She's not full Chinese.
Yeah, because they're like,
she's part African American with a little bit of Mexican in her. Because if she was full Chinese, this woman would not be overweight. And here's what I was thinking.
No, I think it is some overweight. Okay.
Really? Where?
Researcher, can you pull up fat Chinese people, please? Because I know it's some fat Chinese people.
This is why we're going to have interns. This is why we're going to have interns when the fall starts.
The sumo wrestlers are kind of big.
I already said they don't count because they're intentionally big. And they're big because you want to know what the sumo wrestlers eat to get big? Soul food from America. They are big because they eat chitlins and fatback.
You know what? A lot of times,
neck bones.
When JP talking, I agree with him because he really be knowing what he's talking about, you guys. And I'll be like, okay, because he sits up and research things, and the D just rolls with it. Sometimes I research, sometimes I don't.
Oh my God.
But this time, I am not getting on your bandwagon with you. He's lying, everyone,
sumo
okay?
Wrestlers eat
what sumo wrestler have you interviewed, JP?
I've never met a sumo wrestler, but I can tell from looking at it. I can look at a person and tell that they've been eating chitlins, okay? Sumo wrestlers are eating chitlins, neck bones, possum belly, fat back. That's why they're big. If they were following a typical Chinese diet, they would be as small as all the other Chinese people. Mr. Walker is not, let me tell you, those are thin people. And there are other cultures, races, and ethnic groups who are thin. And so I said to my wife, we need to have an experiment. I said, we need to go on an all Chinese diet for a certain amount of time.
They have so much MSG and sodium in that Chinese food.
And that's why she said no. She's like, I cannot.
Remember what happened when you guys did keto? Wasn't it keto?
We did keto.
Yeah, that was not good.
Multiple bad diets, and keto was one of them.
Right. That got you on cholesterol medicine.
and still taking it. I need to try this out. But I don't want to do it by myself. I need somebody else to do this with. But here's what
I'm not doing it with you.
because you can't handle all the sodium.
No.
Well,
I don't have high blood pressure.
I believe if I eat only Chinese food for a certain period of time, I am going to lose weight.
And when you're starting this?
I need to start. I'm thinking about starting
April 1st?
next week.
Oh, next week. Okay.
I just need to figure out how long to do it. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to switch to a whole nother group. And let me tell you, I'm going to switch to a whole nother group.
Mr. Walker, have you found some fat Chinese people yet?
No, because they don't exist.
No, I believe they do.
What came up on his screen is sumo wrestlers. And I already said that's because they eating soul food. And Mexican food. This cooked in lard. Okay? Think about it. Because when Nadine and I was in Europe, I pointed it out to her that everybody was thin. And in Greece, a lot of the food in Greece it was like Italian food. I was like, are we in Greece or are we in Italy? Like, what's with all the lasagnas? They just don't call it the names that the Italians call the food. But I was like, this is the most pasta I ever seen. But all of them people were thin. The only people overweight was the Americans visiting. That's how they knew we was from America. They looked at me and said, he big, he from America. And so, but I cannot, I can't live on Greek food. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't enough to.
It's very rich though.
I'm not doing that. Yeah, I'm not doing that. But because I love Chinese food,
like lamb.
I will do that. The lamb was good.
I bet it was.
But see, I'm not a huge meat eater. I can't just live on lamb.
I can't either. We went to Fogo de Chao, and I have never had that much meat in my life.
That's a lot of meat. I have to mentally prepare myself for Fogo de Chao because when you got a parade of meat coming around you, for those of you who are not from this area.
Oh, we found a fat Chinese person. Hold on.
Did you? No, he loves Fogo de Chao.
Oh, you like Fogo de Chao?
Yeah. If you are a meat eater.
Manchos, their meat tastes better. It's up north.
And it's cheaper.
And
a lot cheaper.
Oh, wow. You know about that. Yeah, it's a lot cheaper.
Oh, yes.
It's a lot cheaper.
If you are in the Kansas City.
Achimas. Come on, help me with the word. Achima.
No, you was close with what you said the first time.
Well,
say what you said the first time.
I can't remember. I got ADHD.
Okay, we got 2 meat restaurants here in Kansas City, people. And
but Fogo de Chao is it's everywhere.
These are Brazilian restaurants. They come by with it's a parade of meat. If you don't turn your chip over, these people will keep bringing meat to your table. It's like what 10, 15, 20 different meats that they come by with. And you just
lamb,
meat,
pork, beef. Oh, it's just everything.
Animals that you've never heard of on a skewer for you to eat. Okay, Mr. Walker, he likes that. That got Mr. Walker. He forgot all about finding overweight Chinese people as soon as we started talking about Fogo. But the other enchamas.
Enchamas, that's it.
Enchamas is the other one up north that is much less expensive and they got just as much meat. Is it better?
It tastes better to me.
I can't tell. All that meat after a while.
Their salad bar is bigger and better.
Because that's the problem.
Woo! Look at all the big old fat Chinese people.
What kind of Chinese people are these? They live in America. That's why they're big. These are American Chinese people. They don't count.
South China.
He can't even speak Chinese. He is.
Ooh, look at that.
These are Chinese Americans.
Showing off belly fat.
These are Chinese Americans who eat American food.
She's in China.
That ain't China. That's up the street.
That's China. Okay, look at him. Look, he eating the Chinese food.
You know what?
Look at his plate. Look at his plate.
Okay, for our viewers and those of you, because most people watch the show after we do the show because everybody's at work. I want you to put in the comments if you agree or disagree with me that typically
I disagree.
Mr. Walker just found he pulled up a bunch. That's a freak show what Mr. Walker pulled up, okay? Like what you see at the circus. Because the average Chinese person
You're
is not
gonna end up
overweight.
having to buy you bigger pants.
I'm going to do this. I bet
He's gonna be in here wearing jogging pants.
I'm
He was
going
like,
to-
I'm on my way to the gym. I'm
I'm
like,
gonna
no,
give
you're not.
updates. I'm gonna give updates. I am going to lose weight living as a Chinese person, eating only Chinese food. My only obstacle is I need a typical diet, and I really don't know how to approach a Chinese person without it sounding ridiculous and say, please help me develop a menu because you're thin and I'm chunky and I need to get thin. And clearly, whatever y'all
I think
eat.
you did really well with the Tootsie Roll diet.
Oh, the Tootsie Roll diet works, but I'm trying to broaden my horizon. I can't just live off of Tootsie Rolls, although they work because they're appetite suppressant. How do I approach a Chinese person, and say, help me develop a menu? Because if I eat the Chinese food I like, it might backfire.
Which one you like?
I like
Crab
the
ragout.
fried crab ragouts, the egg rolls, they fried. I like the rice,
Greasy.
which is starchy. I like the lo mein noodles,
Which is
I like the
starchy.
rice noodles.
Oh, look, a simple, healthy Oriental meal plan. Okay.
Perfect. I think I'm only have to do it for a week or two, and I'm gonna drop weight. I'm going to drop weight. And any friends of mine who are listening to the show who are willing to do this with me, because I need company, okay? I need somebody to call and text about what we eat, okay? Watch me lose weight. Watch. I'm gonna be as thin as every other Chinese person. Okay, D, we
All
need
right,
to get.
just as a slight interview, go to YouTube and it's Healthy Asian Meal Plan to Lose Weight.
There we go. Because even they know that it's their food. That's why they're thin. They're trying to help Americans. If y'all want to lose
I got
weight,
a funny
eat
feeling
what
that
we
it's
eat.
gonna be well, they stir fried in peanut oil or whatever. Some
I
type
don't know
of
what they
sunflower
using.
oil, but they use a lot of vegetables.
And
They use
I
a
love
lot
vegetables.
of vegetables.
I love vegetables. I am going to eat. I just need to figure out what to eat for breakfast, because I'll just have rice with sugar and butter. Which
Oh Lord. Okay.
I don't think that's how they eat their
Let's
rice.
do mental health in the news.
Let's get to mental health and illness in the
Mental
news.
health and illness in the
Okay,
news.
okay.
Woo!
All right. So the Pope, mental health and illness in the news. The Pope wants the Catholic Church to reconsider allowing priests to marry. Now let's take a look at that. What they are hoping is
They'll
that
leave the little boys alone.
they will leave the babies alone.
Alone.
Leave the little boys alone. Let's let the priests, this is what they're thinking, we're going to allow you all to have vagina so that you can leave the little boys alone. There's a flaw in this, though. What in the world is the similarity between a grown woman and a little boy? How are you distracting a pedophile from little boys by offering them serving up a grown woman on a plate?
Well, guess what?
Because
The priests, they might have been choir boys. What are they called? Choir
choir
boys. Okay, because I went to
Wait,
a
are they
Catholic
choir
school.
boys? I didn't go to Catholic school.
I
My
went to
sister got
Catholic.
put out, so it wasn't an option for me.
The candles, yeah. Candle, I can't think
There's a
of it.
name.
Yeah.
They're not choir boys.
No, they're not choir boys. Candle boys. That's what we're going to say for right now. The
And
candle
you went
boys.
to Catholic church D.
No, I went to Catholic school for
But
7 years.
There's usually a church attached to the school.
It is. But I didn't go to the church.
You
We
didn't
were
go-
Baptists.
Oh Lord! You wasn't nowhere near that church on Sunday.
No,
okay.
I should have been because they only go to church for 45 minutes. We was up in there. To
I
3
love Catholic
Back
church.
in the day, we was in there to 3 p.m. Then had to come back at 6 p.m.
When I was a
Sure.
kid, I had a friend that was Catholic, and I loved going to church
Yeah,
with them.
45 minutes.
Mom,
Get
can I go to the
da-da-da-da-da.
Catholic church today? You
Yeah.
go in, you kneel, get up, get up, and then leave.
You out.
Love it.
Yeah. But maybe they
That was
were. I know, right?
Can't believe we said
Speaking of unspeakable, I tell you, sometimes we just go too far. But when they were the Candle Boys,
the Candle Boys.
maybe
They were molested.
Yeah, they were molested. So then it's just.
How is offering up a grown woman on a platter going to distract a pedophile whose attraction is to little boys? But here's what they're because
Maybe we'll stop having all them after a while, and the little Candle Boys won't get molested, and then one of them will grow up and be a priest and be able to have a girlfriend,
and that's what they are hoping.
yes,
And
it'll wash out.
I'm okay with them trying it. Try something.
Yeah,
Whether it's going to work or not. But I do kind of want to debate both sides of this, because that side says, listen, we're going to distract them from the little boys by throwing vagina at them. But then the other argument is, but if they have a core attraction to little boys, you're not going to deter
you're not going
them.
to change that.
But then the other side might present, well, they are attracted to little boys because it's like prison attraction, like people develop an attraction to what they are exposed to. Like men in prison will engage in a little bit of this and a little bit I can get.
Unless they get a couple of the guards and the nurses.
Well, because some of them will ride a convict. Okay, and so what they're thinking is they're exposed to these little boys, and that is the reason why the attraction develops. But here is the argument for that. They're also exposed to other priests and nuns. Why ain't they having sex with them? They are not just exposed to these little boys.
Because as when they were Candle Boys, they were opened up and showed what they could get.
For those who have been molested, but for those who have not, and who have not, according to the church, that's not their core attraction, or that's not what they have been socialized to have sex with. And not everyone, let me say this for our male victims of sexual abuse, because they are having a fit right now. The majority of male victims of sexual abuse do not become pedophiles. And so we have to state that. But what the D is talking about is socialization. And so if it is a part of that culture, this abusive socialization towards a world where adult men are having sex with young boys, and that's what they've been socialized to do, then they would engage in that. But for those, throwing women at them is not going to work. For those who are saying, well, it's because we're not allowed to have wives and we're around these little boys. No, you could have had sex with the other priests. You could have had sex with the nuns.
That's true.
And so that
Or
really,
just pray about it and let God take it away from you.
they've probably tried that, but gave in to the temptation. And so I don't know. I'm hoping that they change this, and I'm hoping that it works. But if it's supposed to work for the reasons of, okay, now they're not going to be attracted to little boys because they can have a grown woman, there's a big difference between a grown woman cannot replace a little boy, and a little boy can't replace a grown woman. They have nothing in common. That's like expecting a zebra to replace a turtle. They ain't got nothing in common. So, if that's the core attraction, we talking about two totally different humans. Okay? I can see if we talking about zebras and horses. Okay? Donkeys and horses. A little boy is not going to satisfy a pedophile. A pedophile is not going to be satisfied by a grown woman if he is attracted to little boys.
Period.
But I'm hoping that this Try it out. Try something. Do something.
Because they're really messing up a lot of young men.
Yes.
And they're messing up a whole generation.
Yes, and it is becoming it has already become multi-generational. As you were describing the socialization, that this is something that takes place. But hey, if there is even the slightest possibility that it will even reduce the amount of child molestation, give it a shot. Try it out. It ain't like there's something. I don't even understand why Catholic priests couldn't marry in the first place, because I don't think that's in the Bible. They just came up with that for some strange reason. Now, if those of you listeners, because we have a friend who's Catholic.
We do?
A black Catholic, yes.
It's quite a few of them. St. Rose was full of them.
You know our friend, she's Catholic, don't you? The one who's like not working right now, is on disability. She's Catholic.
Hell, she been in church with me a whole lot of times.
But she's Catholic.
I did not know that. Okay.
Yes. And so for those of you out there who are Catholic, who can provide us with some education on this, because we don't have an intern yet, and we ain't about to ask Mr. Walker, because we ain't got enough time for Mr. Walker to try to find this information. Okay, you see how long it took Mr. Walker to find the big Chinese people.
He found the fat Chinese people.
It took Mr. Walker 35 minutes to find the big Chinese people.
And he found you a healthy
And he found that
diet.
at a circus in the freak show.
You're going to get up off of Mr. Walker now. I'm the only one get to do that.
We're going to have interns up in here, MSW students, who going to be doing this research for us, because clearly we need a researcher. Okay, let's move on to our question of the day. The professor, this is what the professor's note says, because he had to leave the studio, but he had something to say. When you get back on topic, no, he didn't. Wait a minute. No, the professor didn't. No, the professor didn't. Professor, if you listening to this show right now, I need you to punch yourself in the face.
Oh, he's so funny.
When you get back on topic, what about men in the military in intense, heavy combat situations, heavy and loud something? Professor, fix your penmanship. From explosives can cause shell shock, which is PTSD, professor. Let's use the clinical term. But troops have pressure to perform, do their jobs under these conditions. So true. So there is pressure not to crack or worry about how their fellow soldiers and officers' opinions of them as individuals. All right. This is true. We're going to cover that. Let me reread the question of the day before we get into the professor's comment. Locked in fear.
Because we need to get back on topic.
According to the professor. Fear and anxiety are making my world very small because I'm always running and avoiding everything. How do I overcome my fears? Let me break down the running. Because when men come to therapy shamed and embarrassed about their fears, one of the first things they talk about is what makes them feel weak is that they feel like they're giving in to their fear. Mm-hmm. If it's social anxiety, they're avoiding social situations. If it is, PTSD, as the professor is alluding to, they are avoiding crowds. They can't go into a restaurant without sitting in the corner of the restaurant with their back against the wall. They can't go to concerts. They can't do this. So it's the avoidance. The generalized anxiety, which is just fear of just everything. Those who are having insecurities and fear that they are less than other men and that they're less intelligent, that they're going to say something stupid in a social situation, which crosses back over to the social anxiety. And so what bothers them is that they're giving in to the fear. It's one thing to have the fear, but it's another thing to feel like it is controlling you. And so what I explain to them is that there's a reason why they give in to the fear. Fear and anxiety comes from the amygdala, right? The The limbic system is where our fight, flight, or freeze response takes place. Okay, and so the amygdala has all the fear. Let's use social anxiety as an example. Oh my God, I'm afraid to be around people. I was cooped up in the house for 3 years during the pandemic, and now I'm supposed to go back into the office. Now I'm supposed to go back to parties. Now I'm supposed to go to clubs. Da, 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 da. I can't do it. I can't do it. So they avoid it. Okay, because that's the amygdala. And our actions are housed in the amygdala. So they have the fear of the social situation and they avoid it, which is what the amygdala says to do. The limbic system supports that decision because the limbic system houses we either gonna fight or we gonna run or we gonna freeze. And so it is our defense mechanism that says to avoid that which is scary. And so what I explain to them is you shouldn't feel weak because your brain is actually developed to avoid harm.
That's true.
Something is going to hurt you, you avoid it. And so if you have a fear of social situations, to the brain, that's harmful, avoid it. Or as the professor is saying, because a lot of what soldiers do at war is actually a survival technique. Mm-hmm. The problem is they continue it after they come home, and then it's labeled PTSD. Because if you're at war, and you're hyper vigilant, you're looking over your shoulder all the time, you always got your back up against the wall. If you hear a loud boom, you duck, you dive under something.
That means you're the best.
You're the best when you do that at war.
War.
It's not until you come home and it's the 4th of July and kids start popping fireworks and you down in the basement diving under tables, all of a sudden.
With your gun looking up out the window.
Yes. Then, you have PTSD. This is a weakness. You are afraid. You can't go to concerts. You can't do this. You can't do that. But they're like, this is a survival skill. This is what my limbic system told me to do. And so overcoming it, this is fascinating.
Yes, it is.
At least to me it is. Overcoming it requires you to be knowledgeable of these parts of the brain and overriding them.
Override it.
Because your limbic system is doing too damn much. It is telling you to avoid, but the key to overcoming anxiety and fear, phobias, all of those anxiety disorders, is exposure. Instead of avoiding these things, you overcome the fear by exposing yourself to that which is terrorizing you. So if you have a fear of social interactions, you need to go to the dinner parties. You need to
How about we just go to Walmart first? How about we go to Dollar General?
Walmart will traumatize
First go
somebody.
to Dollar General.
Yeah, start with Dollar General.
Start with Dollar General or Family Dollar.
Don't be rolling up at Walmart after the first of the month.
Yeah. No. Oh, heck no.
In the middle of the day.
Yeah.
No. Now, if it's a 24-hour Walmart, you can go there late at night after you leave the gym.
It's not any more of them.
They stopped doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so the part of the brain where logic and reason and planning and problem solving takes place is the frontal lobe. So your brain is having a 3-way battle. Your amygdala is housing all the fear and the action to avoid. Your limbic system is saying run like hell, or freeze, which is play dead and wait for the whatever scary to go away. Because you done played dead, you done frozen.
Or you gonna have and be the sharpshooter,
which is the fighting.
Which is the
fighting.
Okay,
which we don't want you doing that because there's no war here. Okay, so please, no, don't be shooting at the kids who are just popping M80s. Okay, those are M80s.
Lord, right.
They're not bombs. But then if you are aware of that, you can tap into your frontal lobe, which will have you to face up to these fears so that systematic desensitization can take place. And that is the part of the brain that you need to tap into to get over the fears. And the example I always use is a person who has a phobia of needles. They get diagnosed with diabetes. They're horrified at first. Fast forward, go by their house in a month. They grabbing their needle, grabbing their insulin.
Keep on talking.
Having a full conversation with you because they have systematically desensitized. And so overcoming these fears and anxieties require cognitive behavioral therapy. The cognitive piece is reminding yourself that you are not in danger, that horrible things are not going to happen to you, that you can go to a dinner party and hold your own in a conversation. All the other men at the party are not smarter than you. You're not going to say something embarrassing. You're not going to do something embarrassing. And tap into those parts of you that is interesting, engaging, able to hold your own in a conversation. You have to work on building your self-confidence, and that's what happens in therapy when I'm working with them. But the behavioral piece is you have to come out of your house. You cannot stay in the house. You can't stay in the basement. You have to get out into the situation that is terrorizing you.
Yes.
But this is so difficult for men who are, especially what I have found is the bigger and stronger they are, the more shame and embarrassment they have.
I could see that.
Because the world looks at them as being big and powerful and all of that. And they're like, I'm scared to go into Walmart.
Scared to touch the door.
I'm scared to go to this dinner party that my wife is insisting that we go to. I don't want to go over to my family's house for Christmas because the whole family gonna be there and it's too many people. And can we just stay home, honey? Please, can you bring me a plate back? Please, just bring me a plate.
If you don't go, you don't get no plate.
If you don't go, you don't get no damn plate. Because you ain't gonna succumb to these fears up in this house. What you gonna do is get dressed and we going to dinner at Big Mama's house.
We don't have to stay all day. We don't have to stay all day.
Because if you go and just stay a little bit, you are chipping away at the fear.
Yes, you are.
And the goal is to slowly increase your time and your exposure. I remember I had a client, his wife bought concert tickets to see some show at the Sprint Center. He knew that he needed to prepare for that. He came to therapy about 5 months before the concert.
Wow.
For me to work with him on overcoming his social anxiety and his PTSD, because he was a war vet, to prepare him to walk into that Sprint Center.
Was that right after COVID?
Surrounded by, no, this is way before COVID.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Surrounded by all those people, and I got him there. He made it to the concert. He enjoyed the concert, but it took a lot of cognitive behavioral therapy. It took a lot of systematic desensitization, including Walmart. But I didn't start with Walmart after the first of the month in the middle of the day. We started with stores that were not very crowded. Mm-hmm. When we worked our way up to Walmart, I had him go in the middle of the night when there's hardly anybody there, and we gradually increased him going earlier and earlier and earlier and sooner in the month, because Walmart is more crowded at the beginning of the month.
From the 1st through the 5th.
And the goal was to get him to be able to go into Walmart during peak hours, during that peak time of the month. But we use restaurants as practice. Him first starting in small restaurants that didn't have dimly lit and didn't have many people in it. But I needed him to be able to get to the point where he was able to go into a restaurant that was a little more crowded. I was okay with him starting out sitting with his back against the wall. But the goal was for him to get to the point where he could sit in the middle of the restaurant, not a booth, because he was like, yeah, I need a booth. We're not doing a booth. You gonna go and sit in the middle of that restaurant. We've been working on it. I had 5 months. And when he got to the point, he felt a sense of accomplishment. Mm-hmm. I was able to sit in the middle of the Cheesecake Factory.
Oh wow. They're always busy all the time.
In fact, you working on your fears way before you get to your table at the Cheesecake Factory, because it's crowded outside at the Cheesecake Factory. Like in the summer, you by the fountain, it's 100 people out there. And so getting him through that making it into the restaurant, sitting in the middle, surrounded by people. He was ready for Sprint Center.
Cool.
And so I wanted us to talk about this today because when people see this topic on YouTube, they're automatically going to think we're talking about women or children who are struggling with fears and anxieties. But I want to be known that no, a lot of men are dealing with this now more than ever. And I want our men to know you are not alone by any means. So many men, including African American men, are feeling controlled by fear. Now let's talk about that self-medicating. There's a science behind the self-medicating. Because the D mentioned booze and weed, didn't you?
Sure
You said
did.
booze and weed. Okay. Anxiety is an elevated state of mind. Alcohol and marijuana are depressants. And so if you are experiencing anxiety, you're going to crave a chemical that depresses the central nervous system and brings you a state of calm. What a lot of these husbands do is they get tipsy before they go with their wife to the dinner party.
Oh, yeah.
They already buzzing before they get there because they're elevated. They're like, I cannot walk into this crowded house with all my wife's coworkers. I don't know these people and I don't know their spouses.
I don't want to be
I
around
need
them.
vodka.
Mm-hmm.
Because they drink vodka, take the edge off. The problem is that comes at a big price because then you end up dealing with alcoholism.
Exactly.
And your marriage is in jeopardy because your wife is like, look, I done already dealt with your anxiety. Now you drunk all the damn time too. Now, hell, that's too much. And the same thing with the marijuana. It depresses the central nervous system because it is classified as a depressant as well as a hallucinogen. For those of you who get high and get paranoid, please stop getting high because you're paranoid, okay? You're psychotic when you're paranoid from your weed. In case you didn't know, you're psychotic. And so they're going to crave those kind of substances. But they come at a price because when you are self-medicating, you greatly increase the risk of developing an addiction. And now you got a whole nother problem on top of the fact.
And then you don't think it's straight.
Exactly. And you're only treating the symptom of fear. You're not eliminating it.
Exactly.
Just because you get tipsy to make it through the dinner party, you still scared. When you sober up, you still have that anxiety. And so it is so much better to actually attack the problem and pull it up from the root like you do a dandelion. Don't just be spraying it with vodka. You got to pull that sucker
Okay,
up
y'all.
by the root.
JP is really on one today. How much time do we have left?
We got 3 minutes, and I don't have anything else. I don't have anything else. What else you got, D?
Hey, that's it. You summed that up real good, JP. You did a real good job on that one.
It's about the neuroscience, understanding our brain, and sometimes we have to fight against a part of our brain and use another part of our brain to actually move forward and be successful.
With no drugs.
With no drugs. Well, there is anti-anxiety medication, but I don't encourage anti-anxiety medication because they can be addictive. All your Xanax.
And you gain weight.
Really?
Okay.
Xanax makes you gain weight? Valium too?
One of them do.
Wow. Stay away from them. We already told you to get your butt to the gym in the middle
Exactly. And get on your Chinese diets.
of the night. Get on your Chinese diet. Here's the thing. For those of you considering anti-anxiety meds, they should be used as an absolute last resort because antidepressants treat both depression and anxiety and are non-addictive. And most people who are struggling with anxiety also have depression because it's depressing to be full of fear all the time.
All the time.
And so I encourage people, please don't run out and ask your doctor for Xanax, which is highly addictive.
Because believe it or not, the doctor will give it to you.
Oh, of course.
Without any
immediately
problems.
with no problems. So start with, if you have to try medication, I suggest doing the cognitive behavioral therapy first, because the vast majority of my clients get better and learn to manage and decrease all of this without taking meds. Because, men oftentimes are like, I ain't taking them pills anyway.
Because it causes other problems. It gets them mellow all over.
Right. And so they don't want to do that. And so, but if you are a person and it is severe, it's affecting your livelihood, you have a job where you have to interact with other humans and you're riddled with anxiety, if you must try meds, start with the antidepressants. Don't be jumping to Valium and Xanax and all that kind of stuff just because you want to also be high while you ain't scared no more. Okay, so that's my thought on that. D, did you have anything else on this topic?
No, I think you served that one up really well, JP.
Then we're good. We are good for today. Thank you all for joining us. And remember, worry about nothing.
And pray about everything, including an Asian healthy diet.
I'm going next week. I'm coming in here with my healthy Asian diet.
And I think that would
and
actually
I'm kicking it off.
But guess what? You're not going to be able to have any rice or lo mein.
They eat tons of rice.
I bet you it's not going to be any rice or
It
lo
better
mein.
be on that diet. I'm going to keep searching
or
until I
brown
find one that
rice.
has rice.
Or you
Because
gonna
I'm
have
going to
some
have
brown
rice with butter and sugar.
No. Bye-bye, y'all.
Thank you and God bless.